Okay, are we live? I think we are live. We are live. All right. Close. All right. We got anybody? Anybody? We got one watching, I think. Oh my gosh. Hey, y'all. How you doing? Now, you're probably surprised to see me go live. This is my first stream. So, yeah, here I've got two. What's up, guys? I've got two Sirens here. All right, these are all the parts from. Can you guys guess what they are? Just by the parts. What are they? I'll give you a hint. They're federal signal sirens. You know, I specialize with those. Boom. Jace is right. It's an STL-10 and an STH-10. All right. Well, I don't know. Okay, so today I'm going to literally just assemble them live on camera. If you guys have any questions, like, you know, regarding my channel or, of course, my soon-to-come business, you know, toss it in the comments. I'll try to respond, try to keep up. But please do keep in mind that I am going to be building these. So anyway, let me get my fancy electrician tools out here. This is a screw kit, wouldn't you believe it? Or that's a screwdriver set. Why did I stop using 500 motors? That's a great question. Okay, 500 motors. I don't know what the deal is with those. They're super low RPM, and like it took like 8 volts to get it up to like 3,000 RPM. So that's why I couldn't get them to be USB powered. 280 motors, on the other hand, you know, the Cyclone uses a 280. Those are a much higher RPM, and I can get a siren up to speed at a much lower voltage. Same goes with 130 motors. Anyhow, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So, guys, which should I build first? What do you guys think? What do you guys suppose? I'm going to guess the STH-10 only because it's more popular, but do remember that the STH-10 has its lower toned cousin, the STL-10. What do you guys think? Can we get some votes in the... All right, STH-10, STH-10. Worklight Studio, you want the STL-10? I think it's the STH. You guys. Okay. No, the people have spoken. I will build the STH-10. Guys, I just want to show you this. This is a resin printed rotor. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? It was a MSLA resin 3D printed on my Elegoo. I almost said Century Carbon. Gosh, my Elegoo Saturn 3 Ultra. That's what the underside. This stuff is weird. It's not really plastic, but it is. But yeah, I love resin printing rotors. You get insanely amazing tolerances with resin printed rotors, I've found. They're also very heavy, so that contributes to the wind down. Okay, enough of me babbling. Let's build this thing. Now, my workbench, it's really nice right now. You're about to see it get real messy here in a few minutes. Eye bolts, 1 ohm resistors, M2 screw kit. These are just the M2s. When I build a Model 2, I'll bust out the M3 screws, which are down here. That'll be in another stream. I may or may not build these both in one stream. I'll see how I can do that. All right, weights. Actually, I'll keep these here. Yeah, all right. And then, of course, wouldn't you guys believe it? This tiny motor, these tiny motors can power these sirens. It's crazy. So we'll bust out the 130 motor here. And this is not your standard 130 motor. Oh, crap, I dropped it. I dropped it. 1 second. This is going to be my most informal video ever. Okay. No, so 130, I forgot what I was going to say. Let's read the chat. What do we got here? How long did it take me to make the Cyclone? Okay, that's a good question. Modeling wise, or like actual assembly time and printing? Like, be more specific. Z series fan, is that the STL-10? And yes, it is. Yeah, it is. But this is your STL-10. If you haven't guessed, this is the STH. They both use Valley motors, or have the Valley motor covers. And yeah, they honestly share a lot of the parts, except one has like 12 ports, one of 7. So, yeah, more or less. What else we got? Any questions, you guys, before I get started here? No? All right, well, cool. Hopefully this won't take too long. Oh, yeah, and I've got the STL-10 horns. These printed really interestingly, to say the least. I noticed that, like, gray filament, it just tends to show things like seams super, super well, like a lot. That's just kind of a notorious thing gray filament does. I hope to get a nicer one. This is Sunlu Gray PLA. I got it at a bin store, so it washed up, probably wet, and I dried it several times, so the chemical properties and whatnot changed, but here I am making products out of them. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. I can't believe I didn't mention this. These 2 sirens are not for me. These will be going out to our customers at the 3D Engineer Mini Sirens. That is my business. Or it will be. Now, I'll assure you guys, I'm not selling yet, but I will be by the end of May. That's for sure. Maybe like an actual start date could be like the 1st of June or something, but around that time frame, there really shouldn't be any more delays. Okay, Fizzy, I'll P50. I've gotten a lot of requests to make a P50, and honestly, if I didn't have the quarter scale 2001 and Equinox, I probably would make an 8 scale P50 that actually rotates. That'd be really cool. And then, like, that's the same. I run into the same problem with the Thunderbolt idea. Like, I have a Model 2T and it's quarter scale, but the thing that sucks about it is that, like, I don't want to make a Thunderbolt that huge. I could not only just not sell them, but also, like, I just really am not a fan of ridiculously oversized sirens. Okay, like quarter scale or even third scale, that's too big for my fun. And then, I'm kind of in the mindset that I'm going to be selling everything. I'm not, but it's always a thing to consider because, yeah. All right. Will I make any electronic sirens, Poison Sniper? No. I had the wacky idea to make a Wheelin a way, way long time ago with like an Arduino or a microcontroller like that. Didn't work. And I'm not going to try to sell them. It's too much componentry goes into it. Let's just say that. Yeah. Hope that answers that question. Again, I will try to keep up with your guys' questions. I probably won't be fast enough. If I don't see it, just maybe repeat it once or twice. All right. So you guys voted we do the STH-10 first. Okay. Oh, yeah. Central Pennsylvania Sirens, 8th scale SD10. I can show you mine. Cute little guy. This is an 8th scale SD10. Yeah, it is cute and incredibly easy to ship, or it will be. And this thing's actually pretty loud since I improved the rotor stator tolerance. Oh, yeah, that's that. If you guys want me to just pull out a siren, I got them up on my shelf here. Just don't bombard me while I'm building. Okay. I guess we can start with the stator. Here's something interesting. And we can see these side by side. Obviously, this is your STL-10 stator. This is your STH-10 stator. The STH-10 has beveled ports. Look at that. See? That's pretty obvious. You can see that it kind of got like a knife edge on where the port opens and closes. That's supposed to make it louder, so it slices the air. The STL-10 just doesn't have it. See? There's no knife edge. The horn goes into here, and that's it. I find that interesting. That might be why the STH-10 performs better than the STL-10 by 1 decibel. All right, now what's the first step? Okay, you guys are going to think. This video, if any of you guys who are watching build my miniature sirens, this video will be of very good use to you. And that's because I'm going to show you how to like build it like to my standards, because there's only so much information I can provide in Tinkercad notes. I know. Might upgrade to printables someday, but I want to keep my files low profile with me selling them. All right. So let's get this guy. Basically, I'm hooking up my bench power supply here, electrician's tools, and we can hook up the 130. So let's go up to 5 volts here and just buzz the motor. Wow, that flipped out. I know these aren't the highest quality motors, but they're cheap and they work. So there you go. Oh, that was satisfying. Okay, so here's what we can do first. First, we need to determine the siren's pitch. Which, and here's how I do it. Where are the weights? Anyway, 2-inch fender washer, by the way. That's what this is. I'll put it at the base of my rotor here. All right. And that does, I mean, it'd be nice if this just popped in, but I generally got to glue them. So I will do that real quick. Oh, first, since this is my first time pressing it onto the shaft, I'm going to, this might be hard, and I don't want to get it crooked. Luckily, I added a tapered bore to this, which means like where the shaft presses into the rotor, it has a little wedge shape, more or less, so it can, you know, slide in better. I'm sure I look ridiculous right now. Probably should have done this in advance. All right, I don't know how many of you guys were around, but if you saw my life-sized siren video, I was like trying to get the rotor off of that stupid HVAC motor, and this is giving me flashbacks. Yeah, there's a reason, by the way. If anybody's asking me, will I make a life-size siren again? No, I'm sorry, I will not. I'm gonna buy a siren. Okay, first I just gotta find one. All right, seriously, thank you so much, guys. Will I make a Thunderbolt? I just explained this earlier. It'd be weird to make an 8th scale Thunderbolt or like a 6th scale Thunderbolt because I have a 1/4 scale model too, which means I couldn't reuse like the rotor from that, and you know that'd be weird. Like for example, I don't have like how to say? Oh yeah, like with the Cyclone, I have a 6th scale Cyclone, or no, not 6th. Gosh, 8th scale Cyclone. Am I going to make an 8th scale P50? See, that's the thing I haven't thought about. So sorry, but no, I will not make a Hurricane. If there's a siren out there, and don't call me out on this, if there's a siren out there that gets just a little too much respect, I think the Hurricane takes the cake for that. I mean, you got to think about how many Hurricanes actually exist, and there's not a whole lot. It's kind of a sad fate. I wish they were more popular, but they're just not, and for that reason, I think they're overrated. Okay, anybody gonna call me out on that, or can I have an opinion? Okay, great. There's a thing. There's something I did to stretch this out. You guys are gonna laugh at me for doing this, but I get tweezers, okay, and I just make the hole a little bit bigger. All right. I hope I didn't do that too much. And it's important that I press this on straight. I probably should have. Oh! Remember me saying that 130 motors were cheap? Oh, I am so embarrassed. It just broke. Dang it, Chinese motor. All right. And I don't want to hear people saying, get a Samsung. No, I'm not. I don't use Samsung motors, people. Even though nobody has said that. But that was weird. I don't know why that broke, actually. I'm not sure why that broke. I might be able to repair it, which might take even longer. All right. Man, that sucks. The entire cap just broke off. I don't understand it. Wow. Oh, well. So maybe this shouldn't be a production siren. I mean, like, the motor just broke. And, I mean, I'm going to be fair. I think this is the one I abused quite a lot. By abused, I meant, like I was pressing it on the rotors, and I was pushing it real hard to its limits. I was running at, like, 8 volts or something, which is not really good for a rotor. Or for a motor driving a rotor. So I did abuse the crap out of this thing, so it's probably about time it died. I might be able to fix it, just maybe in my own time, so that's going to hang out up there. Luckily, I have 2 more, and we have 2 more sirens to build. I might do these. I might just do one in one stream. I don't know though. I'll see if I can do two. Do you have any questions? What about my Sterling? What do you mean? If you're asking if I'm gonna sell Sterlings, I mentioned that a few times that I probably would, but I keep having a rotor, or oh my gosh, I keep having a problem where the rotors keep popping off or they keep getting misaligned. And until I can fix that, and super glue is probably the key, but until I can find a reliable method to get around that, I probably won't sell them. It is possible I'll do it in the future, though. Yeah, I love Sterlings. There was a downed one near me recently. I'm going to see if I can get it. I won't leak its location because I don't want somebody to get it before me. Oh, there we go. Beautiful fit. All right. And the motor didn't crap out that time. Okay, so now that it just pressed fit right on, we will get our handy super glue. This is actually super glue gel, but either or will work. And somebody asked if I'll make a T128. Probably not. Probably not. Probably not anytime soon. Maybe when I'm old and I've had my fun. Okay. No, I'm not going to say that, Jace. An 8th scale 2001 130. Okay, well, actually, a really crude way to do that would be to get my quarter scale model and shrink down the parts by 50%, and it would be something close to that of an 8th scale 2001. You'd have to change the parts, though. You'd have to find a tiny gear motor for it and a tiny siren motor. Probably a 130 would drive it. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool, actually? I haven't seen many 8th scale rotating sirens. Oh, you know, my Super Sirix is an 8th scale rotating siren. That thing uses like 20-inch rotors, which is crazy. Yeah, Super Sirixes are huge. It's practically a rotating STL-10 or something. Okay, so that's in. Now we can actually do the part I meant to do before my other motor crapped out. Okay. Okay. We're almost there. A little bit of misalignment. Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at that. Oh, what did I do? This is not all going to be straight until I get it inside the motor cover. There we go. Okay, we have a free spinning siren. Okay. You know, I don't want to break these terminals. If any of you guys have worked with these motors, the tabs just break off. Hi, Tornado Whistle. Can you make a 2001 130? That fits a 130. You could. I'm not going to do that, though. Pardon me 1 minute. I'm going to grab some cables that won't snap my motor's terminals off. Hopefully, no, not that. All right, let's give these a go. Some alligator clips. These are alligator clips, but, I mean, they're scary alligator clips. Like, they will snap these terminals off. These ones are a lot wimpier, so they want to give it a test. I'm getting there. So 5 volts off the bat is going to run this thing up way faster than it should. I think it's around like 5,000 RPM or something I've calculated, which is too fast. We need to be around 3,500 to get normal siren pitch. So see if I can just pop this in here to this terminal. Oh, there we go. Oh, crap. That's live. All right. Should probably turn that off. My bench power supply doesn't have like an on-off button. It's just either always on or always off. And like, I have to like unplug it. It's kind of interesting. Maybe it's a safety feature. Okay. So, I should have put the legs on this first because now I'm going to have to. Okay, let me build the legs real quick. Thing is, this thing's going to be like, if I don't put legs on it, and it's going to not get any air. So, get out of here. Okay. Do you have any questions? 4th scale MS-190. I don't know how I feel about Chinese sirens. Okay. Trying to figure out what screw size will fit these well. I don't want a screw that's like gonna poke the customer. So yeah. And I see we have quite a bit more watchers from the start. These sirens are not for me. They are for our customers for the 3D Engineer Mini Sirens, or at the 3D Engineer Mini Sirens. So these will be given away to enthusiasts that are not me. So now I think I'll bust out my cool screw kit here. This thing looks like a time capsule or something from Subnautica, but it's not. So we got this little drill guy here. All right. And we'll hear me out. I use a flathead on Phillips screws because it has more torque. All right. These are M2 screws, by the way. So they're pretty small. Yeah. And again, welcome to my, I mean, look at how messy the workbench has gotten already. And we are 20 minutes in. Yeah. It's going to get worse. So wait, I'm using M2x8s. So 8 millimeters long. Whoop. There's got to be a way I can grip my, there. I got to be careful with this thing because it's got a lot of torque and it will just snap plastic sometimes. Oh, okay. I changed my mind. I will use this later, but there's nothing wrong with just using a manual screwdriver such as this one right here, so I don't break something. I love that screw kit. Just it's not real. It's not like if you're assembling something like these wimpy legs, then you don't want something to snap off. There you go. One leg attached. All right, guys, we are like 1 out of 40 screws in. Isn't that great? Yeah, there's a lot of screwing involved on the STH-10. There are 4 screws on the motor cover as opposed to 2. I found that adding more screws just gives it better rotor stator alignment. So now it has 4 screws on the motor cover. And I mean, the STH-10 being the STH-10 has like how many? 24 screws, counting the top and bottom for the horns. Yeah, 22. So altogether, I'd say this thing probably has around 30, 40 screws in total. The STL-10 has a bit less because it only has 7 horns, which is 14 total. So, yeah. All right, so we got this pre-threaded. Now we'll put it on. All right. This is probably the easiest part of this siren. Yep. And then we're gonna get to like the soldering, and that'll be really interesting. I don't know if any of y'all solder, but soldering's like it's like tiny welding for electronics. That's how we attach it to the USB cable and the resistors and all the stuff that's necessary for my business. I will say some people don't venture out far enough to like get the USB cables and the resistors and all that stuff that's needed. I'd say needed for the siren. The thing is, lose my words here. It's just like if you want to plug it in anywhere, I'd really recommend the USB cable. Just don't overload your mom's computer by plugging it in there, because it's a motor pushing a mechanical rotor through a mechanical stator, pushing in air, and it draws a lot of power. More power than a USB normally has. I think the max amps for USB is like 2. So these don't draw more than 2 amps, but it's probably gonna put some strain on like a computer's USB. So I wouldn't use a phone adapter. Yeah, a phone adapter or anything like that. And then of course, if you don't want to have it USB powered, plug it into whatever else you desire. Like somebody here, I forgot his name, but somebody here rigged my Sirens to an Arduino, and that's really cool. Like, I encourage that. So we're almost done with the legs. Wow, this thing does not look very good. I need to get the intake on. Okay. Yeah, it'll pull it out. Okay, so let's get that there. Here we go. And you're probably wondering, why the gray? Well, there's lots of gray STH-10s and STL-10s out there, and I had some of this Sunblue gray PLA sitting around, so I figured, why not put it to the use? Why not put it to use? I added an extra article there. Now we might be able to use the drill. What do you guys think? Should I use the drill? It's not a drill. It's an electric screwdriver. What do you think of disgusting Samsung? Okay, here's my thoughts on Samsung motors. You know how, like, on the internet, people open up microwaves and, like, stuff that's horribly dangerous. Like, you're talking thousands of volts here that can kill you. Don't do that. Follow what people say, because they're right. Isn't that cool? Now I know Samsung motor is only 120 volts, but that's 120 volts alternating current through the flesh, and if that zaps you, you're not going to be having a very good day. I mean, when you're working with 5 volts, I mean, I could probably lick this and it would just sting a little bit. So not like I would ever do that, but my point is you can't. It's not dangerous. It's not going to hurt you, and I play it safe. Of course, I don't discourage people from using Samsung motors, but it's really your choice. My sirens are, quite a bit smaller than some other people's, and for that reason, they use DC motors. Really, if they were any bigger, I'd probably step it up to either a Samsung or maybe one of those PM DC motors, which is a permanent magnet DC motor. Those are really punchy. Anyway, I'll stop talking electrical stuff. You probably don't understand. Basically, I put in the screws and look at that STH-10 intake. Roof mount. Yeah. Most of my sirens have a roof mount style thing. Like, the Super Sirexes, of course, have the rooftop truss. I was actually thinking about making a rooftop truss for the Banshee, but it was just proving to be too rickety. Like, it would just probably fall apart in shipping or something. So I decided to veto that. And now it just sits on a little pole stop. Or whatever that thing on the top of the pole is. I think it's a pole stop. All right, what have we got in the comments? My name is not Ethan. Yeah. A1 Mini, not a bad printer, Fizzy. A1s are great. Put that thing to use. What sirens are going to be on your website? Let's see if I remember without looking at my impressive collection above me. The STL-10, obviously. STH-10. The SD-10, Model 5, the Model 2, both single and dual tone variants, and 8-port for the Model 5. And, of course, my Sentries, some of my Sentries. The 14V, the 10V, even the 7V8. There you go. That's completed. Okay, now I can test this thing. And then I'm still not done. I haven't gone through the ACA sirens. The Cyclone, really excited to sell that. It's USB powered, so it passes my criteria for selling it. And it's small, of course. And then, look at that, guys. Hornless STH-10. Test. How many of your sirens use 280 motors? I think only 4. That is the Hamilton, Ohio Super Sirex, the 710 port single head unit, which is, by the way, for me in the works. The core broke, so I have to fix that. Fortunately, I won't be selling those, at least not anytime soon. So I'm not rushing that. Okay. Oh, so that's one of them. Gosh, the 2001 130, the Equinox, and the Cyclone. Yeah, those are my 4 sirens that use 280 motors. And the reason behind that, or the reason why it's only like 4 measly little sirens, is because it's because for example, the STH-10 here, it only needs a 130 motor to get it going. I mean, I know it has a weight, but it doesn't have like the same problem that the Cyclone had. I don't know if you guys were listening, or I don't know if you guys were. I don't know if you guys stuck around for me building the Cyclone, but I mentioned that I was going to have it powered by a 130 motor, and it simply could not get it to speed, at least at or below 5 volts, which doesn't work. Yeah, 230s. I haven't heard of that motor size before. Okay, so we can give this guy a test. Now, can somebody ask me, oh, hello, Great Lakes Siren Productions. Got 280. There you go. Yeah, 230 is probably the size. Okay. Now I'm to this point, I've got the bare 130 motor on top of the STH-10 core. What would you guys do at this point if you were building one of my Sirens? Would you blast it off at a full 5 volts, or would you mess around with resistors until you get the right pitch? Well, that's what I'm going to be doing. What would you guys do? Last night, I got shocked by a 12-volt battery. Really? Wow. How? Were you looking at it? I looked at 9-volt before. Blast it off! I will blast it off, but, oh my gosh, what are these doing here? Oh, that's from my last experiment. You guys are going to laugh. I tried making a resistor chain, and if you don't know what a resistor is, it's a little tiny electrical component that reduces voltage. So let's say we have 5 volts coming in here. We have a little bit less voltage every time you go through a resistor. This is a 1 ohm resistor, so it's like a tiny resistance value. If I were to have like a really big resistance value, the resistor would try to work as hard as it could to reduce the heavy load of the motor, and it would burn up. So that's why we use 1 ohm resistors. You can also use 2.2 ohms and maybe even 3.3 ohms if the wattage is high enough. But, oh, and here I am rambling on about electronics. I was an electrical nerd before I got into Sirens, so that's been helping me to get this far. Let's just say that. Helping me to understand all this stuff. Make sure it doesn't scrape. Exactly. I mean, I don't think it does. We will see. Scrape is not a good word in the Siren community. You don't want to hear the word scrape. If you hear the word scrape, something very wrong is up. So what I'm doing is I'm making a tiny resistor chain. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a little breadboard, and this is just for some prototype testing, I guess. We are in the workshop. In the workshop, the machine shop. Quite literally in the works right now. So I'm going to see what pitch I get with 2 total ohms. I have 2 1 ohm resistors wired together in, gosh, is it series or parallel? One of those two. They're wired together, so that way their total resistance doubles. And now they're not going to spontaneously burn up. They did with the Cyclone, because the Cyclone drew like 2 amps upon start, but this is the STH-10, so it won't. It's also using a 130 motor. Okay. Oh, we don't have power. Let's see what we get, folks. Let me know if this pitch is accurate. Oh, yeah. That sounds very good. I hear no scraping. You made an alerter. Good job. I'm also making a siren shop. Really? Okay. You making a website, or are you just going on eBay or something? Okay. 2 ohms, 5 volts. Guys, should I blast it off all the way? Yeah, I should, huh? All right. This isn't a full 5 volts. Probably somewhere around like 3 to 4 volts after the resistance. Yeah, let's do it. Where do you get power controller? Okay. So that's a big question, Metro. In this case, I'm using resistors to step down the pitch until it's accurate, running off a USB. Because this is a DC motor, it's going to run at a random RPM. So that's what I use to fine tune it. Then some of my Sirens, such as the Cyclone, or some of my rotating Sirens, use buck converters. Here's one, actually. I thought I used all of mine, but I actually have one right here, buck converter. And basically, it's just a tiny little voltage regulator reducer thingy. It can handle a lot more current, or a lot more load than resistors. All right, let's blast this puppy off. I mean, good other than the fact that reached like 15 port pitch, so it's still spinning too fast. I'll wire in probably 2 more resistors and see where we're at after that. That sounded very good. There was a little bit of rubbing, and I fully expected that because I don't even have a motor cover on. This motor's just free to move around. So, all right. Let's try that again. Oh, see, wait, why don't I have power? Why don't I have power? That's strange. Yeah, seriously, Worklight Studios. Yeah, 2001's fun fact, they actually use DC motors in real life. They run at like 4,000 RPM or something, higher RPM than traditional AC motors, and that's why it reaches a higher pitch. It reaches about like 13, 14 port pitch. I'm so sorry, Adam Sirens Adventures. I've said this earlier in the stream. I've tried to make an electronic siren before, and it just didn't meet my specs. It went sideways. I definitely wouldn't try to sell them. It would be cool to make one for myself personally. But the thing with an electronic siren is that it's only going to be as loud as the like amplifier you give it. So it's kind of a hit or miss whether or not it'll be loud. Right now I have it wired up and it's just not turning on. Did I kill this motor too? No, there's literally no contact. This is weird. Here. Oh crap! Okay. That was full voltage. That scared me. Alright, I think we're good now. I think I made a misconnection somewhere. Boom, goes into that row. Oh, wait. This is so confusing. Power. I think this resistor might be dead. I ran way too many amps through it. Nope, there we go. There we go. A resistor, I noticed, either completely works or it completely doesn't work. All right, STH-10 with 4 ohms of resistance. Okay, I'm very picky. It's just a little bit more, like one more resistor, and this will be like perfect pitch. All right, and this is probably a good lesson for those out there who are watching and build my sirens. Make a resistor chain out of 1 ohm resistors. You know, links to all the parts are in the Tinkercad project in the notes, and make a resistor chain. Like this is like 5 1 ohm resistors chained together, and I think I got the pitch right. This is just so we can find the right pitch. We can step it down little by little. Here we go. Oh, you know, I think I miswired something. This is so unreliable. It'll be much more reliable when I solder it all together, but not now. It might just blast randomly if I can't figure it out. Do you see that? It's like trying to move. Full power, half power. No? There we go. I think my alligator clip's partially corroded or something, so it's not getting full output. Here, let me try bunching these up closer to each other. I know this might be boring for some people. I'm moving resistors on a little board, but this is all part of the process, I assure you. There we go. Port pitch. Oh, yeah. No, Commander Poultry. Glue will not work instead of solder. I tried that when I was really little. It doesn't work. Oh, aside from that, that was perfect 12-port pitch. 5 1 ohm resistors did it for me, so that's 5 ohms of total resistance. There you guys have it. Isn't it glorious? So we found a resistance value. Now we can take off this funny setup thing we got here and pretty much just solder it up in the Valley motor cover. Okay, that was fun. We got to blast this thing off. Get the decibel meter. Okay. How about I do that when I plug it in when it's like closer to being done? Yeah, this thing is very loud, extremely loud up close. I'd say over 115 decibels. I have to test it though. I have to do a lot of testing actually. I might make a fun video out of that. But basically, I have to do a test from 5 feet so I can put some specs on my website, and then a test up close, which will be putting the decibel meter pretty much as close to the siren as possible and seeing how high a reading we get. So there'll be 2. And the reason why I'm measuring from 5 feet as opposed to like 10 feet, like Edon measures his miniature sirens from 10 feet away. His are a lot bigger, and they of course use Samsung motors, so they're just gonna be a lot more punchy than mine. But mine are a lot more portable, so they're also a little bit on the quieter end compared to his. But yeah, we'll be measuring them from 5 feet away. For the decibel meter, I will once this thing is like very closer to completion, I will do the decibel meter. All right, I probably should. I have it right here. This is a decibel meter, so I'll pull that out next time. Okay. So, if you guys don't know how this works, really any motor cover of mine is like this. You have an insert, and the motor fits inside of said insert, like this one. Like I gotta press it in because it's supposed to be tight, but it does fit in there. And I didn't even think about this. Do I have a USB cable? Let me go check my stash. Again, this is one of those things I probably should have done in advance. Oh, here we go. Okay, so guys, so look at this. I have this like 1 foot USB cable. It's like really short. I'm not gonna sell a product with a cable that short. So I just found that thing sitting around. Here's a 3 foot USB cable, much longer. So let's use that. All right, so we have our USB cable. And what's cool about this, it's not just, I love that comment, ACA. We have just your positive and your negative from the USB, 5 volts. And, we just wired up to the motor with the resistors and junction. Now, I'm going to see how soldering is going to work because I have my webcast here. It might be in the way, or it is in the way. So again, if y'all don't know what soldering is, it's really quite important when you're into electronics. We're basically going to do some tiny welding, and we're going to solder all these. Soldering's pretty cool. What's good? It's good. It's good, Damien. Okay, let's turn on the soldering iron. That is totally off screen, but it's there, I assure you. We're going to be heating it to 700 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's fun. Don't touch it. I've gotten, I guess, a 7th degree burn or something before through soldering iron. That's the thing with soldering. It can be dangerous. You might burn yourself if you don't know what you're doing. And I myself have burned myself several times not knowing what I was doing. So we have 23 people watching right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Okay. Now, this will be the cool, I look like a scientist part of the video where I'm going to be, you have a soldering iron. Nice busy. This will be the cool part of the video where I look like a scientist. He's like welding. This is going to be great. Yeah. Oh, sorry, ACA. Yeah, I started soldering a long while back. Long before I became an enthusiast, I was soldering in the garage of my old house, and I remember it being really cold in there, and that was like the only thing that could like keep me warmth, outside of the house. Yeah, those are some fun times. And I was soldering random components together, seeing what they would make, and sometimes it would make something really cool, like flashing lights, and other times it would burn up in my face. So you win some, you lose some. Okay, I might have miscalculated how big these are. Like, I'm going to have to stuff that in that motor cover, and this space won't be here because the motor will take up that space. Oh, well. So this is hot. This is at your 700 degrees, or 600, anywhere around that range works. Yeah, resistor. You know, I might want to, no. I was thinking about getting like a higher resistance value, like a 5 ohm resistor. That would have been all these resistors together. So that way I didn't have to like cram 4 or 5 of these in there. But the thing is, the higher the resistance value, the more resistance on the resistor, the more current that's going to be going through it. And basically, it's going to burn up. So, in this case, in this scenario. So, yeah. I got like I got these 130 motors that are like several thousand RPM at like a really low voltage, and that's not what you want to make my sirens. So let me get my solder. Rosin core solder from my local Radio Shack. Yes, I actually have one of those. Yeah. A soldering iron on my 2001. Nice. All right. Now you're gonna see some smoke. That's just the nature of soldering here. Just don't breathe it in. A Cyrix / Cyrodrone. I wouldn't put slash between those. Those are two very different models. But I get your point. It is likely that the Super Cyrix will be my only HOR siren. And the reason behind that is just because other HOR sirens were nowhere near as popular as the Super Cyrix. Don't get me wrong, unpopular sirens, like rare sirens, are cool. But the thing is, you know, if I wanted to sell them effectively, I plan to sell most of my sirens eventually. You know, they have to be a little more well-known and popular, you know. So, you can see me, I'm looking like a mad scientist right now. Or something of that nature. Yeah. If you guys wanted to know what I wanted to be when I grow up, it would be an electrical engineer. And basically, I'd be doing this all day. Except maybe with like circuits and stuff. Okay. So we literally just... yeah, seriously, I do. Federal Signal fan. Will you make a P10? Well, let me ask you that. Let me ask you a question. You know those chopper motor to rotator systems with the gear reducer? It takes the chopper motor's force and then it steps it down through these wacky zany gear. Yeah, I don't want to try to make that. That's really complicated, especially for a siren at a smaller scale. Chances are, if it's like a what did you say, P10? It's probably going to be in like 8th scale or something. I could make it bigger, but like I said, bigger sirens just aren't really my specialty. Except for the 2001, that was an exception. But that'll probably be my only huge siren. Besides the HOR Super Cyrix, and that's that one had to be at a smaller scale because the Super Cyrix is huge on its own. That's why, like, my 8th scale Super Cyrix is actually not that small. It's just a big siren in general. So there, now we have our chain of resistors. These little buddies are going to work together and resist the current. Now I'm using fancy words like Z. What am I, German? No, okay. I'm going to try to like... I'm going to try to think of the hula drone. Oh my gosh, that thing was funny. Did you guys hear about that? The hula hooping HOR? Yeah, it's inactive now. They just took it down. It's a sad fate for that thing. All right, so resistors bank. Look at that. We just made this thing like 10 times smaller, and everything is still wired. And think this is, I'm going through something right now called production quality. That means things I make have to pass a certain criteria. Like, you know, I can't ship off a siren that scrapes or a siren that's over pitch, because, you know, it would suck for the customer. So they have to, my judging status, or whatever you want to call it, is a little bit higher for sirens that I am selling. Okay, this is a good way to approach it. Look at this. I'm just wiring it on the side of the motor. Kind of like a real one. All right. Now you're going to see me look like a mad scientist here again. Get off. This motor is very magnetic. We're getting resistor leads all over it. Okay. I hope this fits in all one go. I haven't tested this. These resistors, I didn't use them on my other sirens, like my personal sirens, because they are like, I had this huge resistor kit that I got a long time ago, and it just happened to have 1 ohm resistors in it, which was the resistance value that I like to use for these. And they're a little bit smaller. They're 1/4 watt. These ones are 1/2 watt, so they can tackle more current. Yeah, this stuff's not super healthy to breathe in the long term, so I gotta be careful. Okay, now we have that here. How was the siren a health hazard? Oh, you guys are talking about stuff. Oh, there's a guy here named Ethan. Okay. I was like, my name is not Ethan. Sorry about that. All right. Snip. And what else do we got? Well, pretty much that's it. We have our resistor bank on the side of this. Hopefully nothing makes contact with the motor body, because that might short it. So if this thing doesn't work, I'm going to blame that reason for it, for being it. Oh yeah, like it's making a contact here. Let me cut that. Yeah, real smart idea to make the motor body one of the motor's terminals. I don't know why. I don't know why that's a thing, but it just is. I'm almost done here. Okay. Oh, dang it. The Model 2T is live. Huh, okay. Guess we have the same idea. I don't know if any of you guys know him, but we're pretty cool friends in the community. He pointed out that my Tempest Stator, which is one of my new sirens that I'm modeling right now, the ports didn't taper from a square to a cylinder, and I just earlier today fixed that. Let me get rid of this notification. All right, what are y'all talking about? Why did they decommission the Hamilton Sirens? I don't know, man. I've heard from Super Sirens 127, another great enthusiast in the community, that he lives in the area, and I think he talked to the town or something, and they said that they had plans of restoring it. I hope that's true, because that's a really, really cool siren, All right. Okay, so I hope this works. I really hope this works. I don't know if that's true. Don't get your guys' hopes up, but it would be nice if it were true. Okay, now I'm going to stuff my babies in here. Oh, yeah, there we go. So here's the thing I like to do to make the USB cable look really good on here. Here, let me get my hot soldering iron on here. Oh, wait. I'm going to need this. Never mind. I'm just going to turn it off for the time being. I get my USB cable, and what I do is I get scissors, and I'm not going to cut it like you guys probably think I am, but I'm going to actually kind of skim it. I'm going to I don't know if you guys see what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing there. I'm kind of shaving off some of the layers here on the cable. So that way it's thinner in one spot, and that's I can shove it into the hole and it looks better. I'll show you the whole process. Again, one of the criteria for me judging the quality of my mini Sirens is the way the details look. So I would have my motor cover, and our cables would go in, and I'd just cram it in there and add glue. 14V. Oh, thank you. Great Lakes Siren Production. Question, did you use resistors? Did you use a USB cable? Did you use weights? Just kidding. All that stuff's technically optional, but I highly recommend it. Let's do a little more shipping. Can you make the STL-10? If we have time after we make the STH-10, in the stream, I will happily make the STL-10. That the parts for are sitting here. For the time being, you guys, the STH-10 definitely outvoted the STL-10. So, yeah, just like the real thing. I get it. It's lower toned. I used a buck converter. Oh, okay. That works. That's a really easy way to do it. Oh, and with the 14V, the way it's designed, the motor cover, or the motor housing, I should say, is really big, and you can definitely stuff it in there. Nice, use weights. I'd like to see a video of that if you make videos. That'd be awesome. If you don't, I totally respect that. Okay. I just keep eating away my cable instead of shaving it. See, that's more chunks of my cable coming off. Come on. Good thing I have 3 feet to go. I'm getting stuff all over my setup here. Okay. All right. So let's try that. And basically, I'll show you guys again. I just pretty much shaved it a little bit so that way I could stuff it in here. It also gave me more cable. That's convenient. Okay, let me give it just a tiny bit more shaving. So let me know if you can hear my voice clearly, because my computer's microphone is not the most sensitive, I've been told, because I call somebody on my computer, and yeah, it just doesn't. It's not studio quality. Let's just say that. Okay, here we go. You guys can all hear me? Great. It P50, bruh. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. All right, I'm almost done. What's the best advice for making rotors? I'm really bad at it. Okay, what 3D modeling software do you use? If you use Tinkercad like I do, then I can help you. Okay, I know the Model 2T is live. Sorry, Google Chrome is giving me some notifications. Tinkercad. Okay, I'm going to assume you do use Tinkercad. Great. Okay, I'd highly recommend the circular array shape generator that can be found in the model library. And the shape generator is really cool because it can make several shapes in like a circuit, like, you know, they'll be evenly spaced and whatnot. Like the STH-10, if you were modeling a stator like this, then see these copies, it would make a bunch of copies of shapes, and you could. That's actually how I modeled this one. I used that shape generator. You can punch in the number of copies you want. So if you wanted like a 10-port siren, punch in 10 copies, you'll get 10 copies. I noticed it's really laggy. Like the shape generator takes a long time to respond. I don't know if that's just my browser. Oh my gosh. I almost smacked myself in the face with this cable. Okay. Glue gun, which, yeah, hot glue gun. Are you going to make a super banshee? That's very unlikely. No. I feel like the super banshee had a similar fate to the hurricane, and it just didn't. It was supposed to be popular, and it never got popular. So, yeah, no. I'm tired of dual rotor sirens too. I've made much too many of those. The Model M, the 10V2T, the 15V2T, the 3T22, the 2T22. The list goes on and on and on. I might have just mentioned them all, but you get the point. Are you going to make... Oh, yeah. I already read that one. All right. Yeah. Reprint the rotor with higher infill. That's a good way to do it. If you guys don't use fancy resin printers like I do, then higher infill is going to make your rotor heavier. Okay. Miscalculation, you know? Here, let me... I'm going to get my wire strippers here. So they did not give me enough cable. Or, I mean, they gave me enough cable, but I just got to... You should make a Screamer 108. Again, the Screamer 108 is a very unpopular ACA siren. So I'm going to have to pass on that one, buddy. It'd be nice if they were, like, everywhere, but they're not. Like, here's how I say it. Think of, like, the chance you're going to find, like, a Sterling Model M or, like, a Model 2 as opposed to the siren you want to suggest that I make. Like, they're just not very common, you know? Okay, Super Sirexes are incredibly hard to come from. They're cool, okay? So that was an exception, okay? And a really nice subscriber of mine suggested that I, you know, make that. So I wanted to fulfill his dream. He printed it. It's really cool. So yeah, that is Trains and Sirens of Utah. So thanks to him for recommending that. I don't know if he's watching it. Darley 3v8. Oh, maybe. Oh, crap. I stripped the cable. Okay, you know what? We will restart that because we have plenty of cable. I made him a Sterling 1216 port in red and green. Did that happen to be my model? Great Lakes Siren production? If not, I get it. But I think I have the only 1216 port Model M out there. Have you ever thought of electronic sirens? I said this earlier. No. I've tried it before with a Whelan. It didn't work. The Model 2T, who's apparently live right now, made a really cool. Oh, thanks, Great Lakes Siren Productions. He made an alerter? No, not an alerter. Gosh, and this is how little I know about electronic sirens. He made electronic sirens, and they're really cool. So if you want to ask somebody about making electronic sirens, I would ask him. I've never made an electronic siren, even though I'm surrounded by them where I live. Okay. Well, I don't know where that went. Something flew. Okay, well, that's gone. Also made my STH-10. Thanks. Man, if I'm not subscribed to you already, I'll be sure to do that. I try to subscribe to everybody who's made my miniature sirens. All right. What about a T128, T135? Both on no of those. Oh, bye, Fizzy. The reason why I'm not going to do it is because, gosh, it's just that they rotate. I've had my fun with rotating sirens. I'm not going to make one for a long time. I will make a Tempest, 112 and 121. So, also the T1 and your mom. Wow. Thank you, Great Lakes Siren Productions. Seriously, I will have to check out your channel if you've got content on there regarding my sirens. Again, you guys would recommend USB cables. Of course, maybe this one's being finicky, so I guess it's a bad example. But most of the time, these things are really nice to have. Okay, because you can plug this thing in. And my SD10. My gosh. Yeah. I guess if I were to really judge your job, I'd have to see it, like if it reaches accurate pitch and if it uses a weight and whatnot, but that's up to you. How much will you sell your STH-10s? I will sell STH-10. That's why I'm making one right now. This one will be for a customer. I will price them around, I think, $50 plus shipping as of now. So my cheapest sirens will be the Screamer S2 and the Model 2 because they're just like the real ones. I don't know if you guys know this, but the Screamer S2 was literally designed to rival Federal's Model 2. They're very similar in size and performance. Those will be my cheapest sirens, priced at $45, and they're both quarter scale. My only quarter scale sirens. Yeah, not selling 2001s. Sorry, guys. Okay. Here we go. No, I've tried it. Sorry, Siren 1003. I've tried making electronic sirens. I've tried making a Whelan. It just didn't work. I'm so sorry, Great Lakes Siren Productions. I am not making 3T22s or Sirexes, or Super Sirexes. Too big and complicated to ship. Sorry, but I will have like a lot of my other smaller models, such as these. I have bigger ones too, quarter scale sirens, like my Model 2 and my S2. But yeah, honestly, if you printed that many of my sirens, I was thinking about the 2T22, but no, it's I feel opposed to selling a siren that has 22 horns that could break. So yeah, and they're huge. Yeah, I was thinking about selling, oddly enough, 16 V1TBs because they're USB powered, and it's like Sentry's like largest dual rotor siren or something like that. Like they're massive, or mine is massive at least because it's 6 scale. Sterling, maybe we'll see. I want to push the Sterling, but I got to make sure that it's not going to scrape and all the rotors are going to become misaligned during shipping. I'll have to run some tests on that, but I will try. Okay. Might buy a Model 2 10V and 14V, remake my town's siren system, and I love that. That was a great idea. Yeah. If I were to remake mine, it would just be a bunch of Whelans. Yeah. Oh, well, their old siren system had an SD10 and some Thunder Beams, so I do have an SD10, and it's actually kind of in honor of that, if you will. All right. Now I can finally, you know, like, build this thing. Let's see here. Now we go to the tiny wire stripper. All right. Negative. All right. And positive. Come on. 16v1. Yeah, I was thinking about it. That is if I can sell them, or that is if I can Well, yeah, that is if I can keep up with making them, because they're huge. Hello, Harold Hi-Hat. Wow, nice to see you here. Thank you so much for printing my Cyclone, by the way. I'm glad you liked it. 10V. What do you mean? Are you asking me if I sell my 10Vs? Yes, I will be. Ooh. Yeah, I found that a 16V1 TV is literally just pretty much two 10Vs stacked on top of each other. Oh, with longhorns, all longhorns. Yeah, that's the thing. I think my 10V with my current lineup of Sirens that I'm going to sell, I think it has like the largest span. Like the horns stick out like a lot of inches. So they're pretty big. I would say if I were to guess, it'd probably be like about half the size of like Egon's mini, like his mini 10V. Of course, his aren't at a designated scale because they're scaled to fit Samsung motors, but I think it's pretty cool. They're pretty cool. They don't reach full pitch most of the time though, because they run at like 3,000 RPM instead of 3,500, which I think is weird, but oh well. You win some, you lose some. Here I am using 130 motors, and people, they're not the most precise motors, but once you step down the pitch enough with resistors, they can be very accurate. What brushed motor did you use for your 2222? Okay, I'm glad you asked that. I think I have one down here. I'm going to pop under my desk again. All right. I dug through my trash again. No, it uses one of these. All right. It's a very Chinese motor. No, this is a dual shaft 390 DC motor. And what makes it special, as opposed to like a regular 390 motor, is because it has a shaft sticking out both ends, which means it could be used for a dual rotor siren, such as the 3T22 and 2T22. But what I had a video on loosening the brushes on this thing. Highly recommend you guys watch that video if you're building any of my 390 motor sirens. And the reason for that's honestly just because you'll get like an extra 3 to 5 seconds of wind down time. Highly recommend it. Yeah, seriously. I met your big 2T22. Oh, that one. I think I forgot. It's been like 2 years to be exact. Yeah, I can't remember. I think it uses like a 555 or something like that, some variant of that motor. It's a huge motor. I don't recommend those motors because they have the tightest brushes on probably any commercial DC motor in a designated size. And yeah, it's just going to kill wind down time unless you have a really nice, really heavy weights and you loosen the brushes. But yeah, it's going to give you like probably like a 3-second wind down, which is like, pew! Yeah, not what you want. But if you have watched my original 2T22 video, yeah, it sounds like that. It's got like a 2-second wind down. That's the reason for it. Not discouraging people from using those motors, especially because they're DC motors and not dangerous AC motors. Thing is with those is that you're just going to have a bad wind down. Unless you loosen the brushes. I would definitely go out of your way to do that. Really want to build my Cyclone. I would love that. Siren 1003. That would be really cool if you did that. The 3D files are on Tinkercad. I recommend you watch my overview and test video of the Cyclone so you just know what to expect. All right, we have glued the cable in, and we have our connections right there. I hope I'm doing this right. What if this thing's just a failure? Can't wait to build one. That one dude's half-scale 2001. I know. Did any of you guys see that? Somebody, I forgot his name, but he's an awesome guy. He made my quarter-scale 2001 a true half-scale 2001. That's crazy. So seriously, good job to have. Major credit to him for like retrofitting it for a different screw size, using different componentry. Yeah, he just amazing. Yeah, everybody saw that. That you should check him out. I forgot his name. Gosh, I wish I knew. Just awesome effort to that guy, and he fully credited me for the original files. So what a legend! I appreciate it when people do that. Right. No, oh. This thing just is. It loves these random resistor terminals I have sitting around on my messy workbench. Yeah. All right. So this is positive on the motor. I guess I'll just wire it up. These motors are bidirectional, which means they can be wired in any direction, spin at roughly the same RPM. It won't matter. Yeah, they'll spin. It looks amazing. Hey, almost got your Sterling Model M core almost fully assembled, where you would center the 390 motor because the shafts seem quite short. Yes, they are short. You have to make sure that you glue it in the right spot, or else, you know, you don't want one rotor having all the shaft and one having none. So you just get it in the middle, and it should work. Yeah. Just now getting into Sirens, and I really love your channel. Thank you. I'm going to call you Chaws. Chaws, is that okay? I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce that username. Okay. Do you resin or FDM print your Sirens? Both. These were FDM printed, as you may see. STH-10 intake. And the only part that I resin print are the rotors, because I, want good tolerances and I want them to be heavy. Resin printed objects are solid. So that means that they're very heavy. Basically, what that means is that there's like 100% infill all the time. Really cool. So that's part of why my Cyclone, my privately owned Cyclone in general, has such a long wind down, as opposed to maybe some other people's Cyclones, is because the rotor is FDM or is resin printed. Yeah, really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. You don't have to go that far, like as to print all my Sirens like that. But if you have a resin printer, I would put it to use by doing that. Just print the rotors with it. That's my suggestion. Like printing housings with resin would be just a lot of work, and probably wouldn't be the strongest because resin chips pretty easily. Yeah, and I want this to be like impact. Like I can drop this and it's not going to break. So if that were resin, I'd be like, oh crap, did I break it? So yeah. Boom. I'm almost done here, like with the wiring, the boring wiring part. 18 people watching. Thank you guys so much. All right. Oh, I do have this on. When in doubt, soldering iron out. Well, I'm not in doubt, but all right. Now it's time for me to look like a mad scientist again. Don't worry, guys. I am not breathing in these fumes long term, and I'm in a well-ventilated room. Oh my gosh, I just burned the motor cover a little bit. That's okay. Nobody will see that. Okay. All right. Oh, I hope this is revivable. Okay. Maybe it will be. Let's see if I can sand that a little bit. Oh, wait, well. Can you guys see that tiny chip out of the motor? No, you can't. Okay, great. Yeah. That's why you gotta be careful with soldering, because soldering will instantly melt plastic, and it sucks. Unless you're like printing really huge Sirens and they're assembled in stages and you have to plastic weld all the parts together. Those are really cool. Then the soldering iron becomes your friend when it comes to plastic. But in this case, I'm just using it for wiring, and I'm not going to be welding parts together. So I want to be really careful. Okay, now push in the motor. Oh, negative. All right. Hope I don't lose this in this bundle of wire. Oh, it's tied up. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm just preparing sealing up the motor. I'm going to give it like a final run. Yeah, I'm going to run it again, and I'll use the decimal meter this time. I'm going to give it a final run to make sure like the pitch is still accurate, make sure all the connections are solid, and then I will seal up the motor cover, and we can start assembling the rest of the Siren. All right, we have a lot of questions. How much longer? Until I get this thing built, probably. Yeah, this is taking a long time, you guys. So I think I'll just do the STH-10 today, which is this model. The STH-10, that's over there. And then after that, I think I'll wrap it up. And then maybe tomorrow or some other day when I'm feeling like it, I will do the STH-10. I'm not in a huge rush to build it. It's not like somebody's bought it yet. All right. All right. What is your favorite siren that you've seen / recorded? I don't know. I have never. You guys are gonna think like what I have never recorded a siren before. I've only, well, that's not true. Had a few tornado warnings, but that's pretty much it. I don't drive up the sirens and record them going off, although I would love to, but I don't drive yet, or have anybody that will drive me. So, anyway, Model A, Mini Sentry F2, maybe. Somebody already made a Mini F2, so I'd be kind of copying them at that point. Yeah, I was thinking about making a vehicular siren of some sort eventually. Would be cool. You know, I was thinking like a federal model or federal Q siren, Q2B, whatever you call that thing. Yeah, they're cool. I hear them going off all the time because I hear my town's fire trucks rolling down the street and woo, yeah. I might make a Q2 eventually. I just love the impressive build quality on your sirens. If you only saw the seam lines on my dual pretense frame. Yeah. Most slicers have this at this point. It's called the seam painting tool, or oh my gosh, the Model 2T is live for a third time. I know. I might want to check a stream out later. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, there's a in your slicer, gosh, if you're using like, you know, I'm using Creality Print, which I have some mixed opinions about sometimes, but it's what I use because I have Creality printers. And there's a tool called seam painting, the seam paint tool, and it allows you to paint in the areas on your print where you want the seam. So actually, like I've done this here. Let me find a good part. The STL-10's horns, for example, you can see I have the, I can't even see the seam. It looks that good. The seam is like right along this line here. And I went with the tool and I painted it right there. I wanted it hidden in that corner, you know, instead of being like right here where you would see it. So seam painting tool is very useful. For the longest time, I didn't even know what the seam painting tool was. And now I do know. Now I have learned. And it's pretty great, honestly. It can hide seams really well. 2130. Andrew Thomas. Thank you so much, Golden Rocket. Yeah, that was his name. So big thanks to Andrew Thomas. He's doing an awesome job with that. I hope it goes well. I mean, if it's a half-scale siren, I mean, it's going to be like probably a good portion of the neighborhood's going to hear that thing, you know? So I must say it's impressive. I'm going to say it's probably as loud as like an actual Model 2 or something, and those can be heard from several miles away. So, you know, just with how big it is. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited to see how that comes together. I kind of feel bad. The reason why I feel bad is because he put 12 rolls of PETG into printing that thing. And I kind of wish, I hope he went out of his way to make some of the parts thinner because, you know, with it being quarter scale, the walls are like a given thickness. And if you scale them up 200%, then it's going to be like twice the thickness when it doesn't have to be that thick. So like the horn, for example, was already really thick, and that's just so that way it would be strong. And I worry that horn ate up like 4 rolls of his filament. So, because it was thicker than it really needed to be. Anyhow, I'm sure he knows what he's doing because he's already gotten this far. So yeah, Andrew Thomas, I wish he was watching this. Great man. Thank you so much for my work if you are watching. Yeah. That's how I feel too. I'm crazy when I first started printing. Actually use glue, blah, blah, blah. Brass wood screw. Oh my gosh. Damien, you remember when my STL-10 used brass wood screws and glue? Oh man, that was a long time ago. Here, actually, I mean, I have my newest version of my STL-10 here. It's the square horn printed in shiny red. And look at that. It reuses the brass wood screws from version 1. Yeah, this thing's old. Yeah, I quit using brass screws because they're... Something fell. I quit using brass screws because they, you know, they fade over time. And these screws don't. Also, number 2 screws will fit perfectly into a 2mm hole. That's 3D printed. Brass screws will not. It's like 2.3, which is really throws me off. Some of my sirens probably, some of my older ones probably still say you can get away with using number 2 screws, and you can, but just have some discretion. You know, I highly recommend going with M2 screws because my sirens are designed to use M2 screws, or at least my newer ones are. Moment of truth. All right, that's a good sign. There we go. Oh, dang it. I think I pressed it in too much. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Glue. Oh, there we go. Guys, we got it. STH-10 core. I guess I can just blast it off here. I'm using my phone adapter here. Like I said, don't plug it into your mom's computer or else it might kill the USB, or it might kill the USB port on your mom's computer or whoever's computer you're using. Okay. My computer stopped charging. Oh well. Guys, you want to hear this thing? Of course you want to hear it. Why is my camera getting all noisy? So I have everything wired in here. Yeah. This is where my Connor Cruz did streams like these. Oh wow. You know, what is it? Somebody said, oh yeah, RC Cars and Planes. I don't know if you're watching. He called me the new Connor Cruz. Yeah. And we're very similar in a lot of ways with like how we build our sirens. He's like the only enthusiast on YouTube, or the only miniature siren designer that I know that resin prints rotors. So like, just I wish it was a little more popular. Resin printing rotors. Connor Cruz, and he's way before my time, you know, discovered resin printing rotors before I did. So seriously, amazing work. Okay, now this thing is wired up and ready to go. The STH-10 core. This is pretty much just to verify that it's a that it's, you know, all the resistors are doing their job, all the wiring is solid. So here we go. Hopefully this reaches normal STH-10 pitch. All right. What did you guys think? All right. I noticed a lot of STH-10s run at this exact pitch that this just reached. And it's technically a little over pitch. Okay. Should I just go with it, or should I wire in a little resistor? What do you guys think? Oh wait, the pitch might be a little lower when I bolt the horns on because there's a little more load on the air coming out, and that actually slows down the rotor a little bit. So I think the pitch will be perfect when I assemble it. Let's go. Okay, now I just assembled this core, but honestly, I probably have to take it apart because I didn't glue anything. Wow, that thing is efficient. Okay, definitely gonna buy one. Oh, thank you so much. Please promise you won't pull a Connor Cruz on us. Okay, what do you mean, Harold? I'm not exactly sure. What, did he do something bad? What? Oh, yeah, he disappeared. Oh, no, guys, I won't disappear. Not until I'm old enough to have my fun. I was thinking about starting just like an engineering channel eventually, but I'm having fun with sirens right now. So I know he did disappear off the community. He's just gone. Real sad. I mean, he's an older dude. He's got a life, so maybe that's why. Yeah. All right. Well, that's the STH. Taking a good long while. Gosh, but no, it is what it is. I will do just the STH-10 today. Don't worry, guys. Jeff, that is so funny. Supercharged STH-10. Yeah, that's fun. Was it really that loud? Wow. Was it louder than the vacuum blower or the mattress blower? Because those things are pretty loud. Yeah. Something big. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Well, maybe he'll come back someday. I mean, I doubt it, but it'd be cool if he did. Yeah. Siren 101. Okay, so I've come up with a few good methods of pulling out rotors that are stuck in here like this. One of them is pounding in a shaft like this and ripping it out, or, just pulling it out. Let's see. I'll tap it in very gently. This side of the rotor doesn't have a tapered bore, but it also wasn't printed on the bottom of the printer, where tolerances are kind of thrown off. Oh, this is the one I cut. Sorry, that one's really sharp. I should probably have a little hammer to do stuff like this, but I'm using my wire strippers, which are really heavy, so. BSC product. As far as I know, BSC is still, like, I thought he's selling many Sirens. I saw Palmer Divide Sirens' videos on his Sirens. He has a 2001 that's almost identical to mine, minus the wind down. His wind down's way better. Palmer Divide Sirens likes buying Sirens from him. I think they have a deal or something. I think he's still alive. Like, I think he's still in the community. I just don't know past that. I think, because I've seen videos from him recently, like within the year. All right. That blower is on my STH-10. Oh my gosh. Yes, use a leaf blower. I'm just kidding. You guys think BSC is gone? Oh. Wow. Rough. Okay, well, I will say one thing. If I tried selling my 2001s, because my 2001 it's very similar to BSC Productions' 2001. Actually, here's a fun fact I never told anybody. I saw his video for his SRMB, his 2001 SRMB, and I thought it was so cool. I'm like, I can build that. And then a month later, 3 months later, I had my 2001 130. Yeah, he inspired me, literally. So I guess partial credit to him. Yeah, but don't know what to say about that one. Okay. Now for the chopper pull. All right. So I pounded my shaft in. See, look at this. This is giving me super Sirens vibes. All right. Come on. Oh, that didn't work. All right. Well, if I get it in there really deep, then I can yank it out, but clearly not that time. Do you guys think I have to take this apart? I might not. I might not have to take it apart. I didn't glue it. Usually, I glue the motor covers shut, so that way, just to ensure that stuff isn't moving around in there, but I made it really tight. I think I'm going to let it be. Yeah. All right, folks, we got to bolt down some horns and we'll be done here. Here are the STH-10 horns. I can get my soldering iron out of here because I'm done soldering. That's a relief. Okay. This is going to be a weird shot for a while. Okay, back. Yeah. What do you think, guys? Do you like the Valley motors? I like the GE motors a little better but I will say STH-10s very rarely have GE motor covers or GE motors on them. I don't know why. Yeah. Can you give me some tips on how to make the STL-10 ports on the stator so evenly spread out? Damien, okay. You can go with the easy way or the hard way. Now, the hard way, and this is how I used to do it before I discovered this tool, and I mentioned this earlier in the stream, is the circular array shape generator on Tinkercad. It can be found in the model library, and the shape generator thing, what did I just call it 5 seconds ago? I'm losing my train of thought. Circular array. The circular array shape generator makes a bunch of copies of shapes in like a circle, and you can punch in how many copies you want. So like if you wanted a 10-port siren, you'd punch in 10 copies and then it would make them. And then you could change the size and shape of them. It's really cool. In fact, that's actually how I modeled the STH-10 stator and the STL-10. Most of my stators, because it makes the copies. Now, if you want to do it the hard way, you can make 2 copies of like a square, right? You know, centered with each other. Have them centered perfectly in the middle of a cylinder, which would be like your stator, and then you'd punch in the number of degrees for that shape. Like for example, if you're making a, I don't know why I remember this. If you're making a 7-port siren, such as an STL-10, you'd have those 2 copies, and you'd rotate them by exactly 128.57 degrees. That's the angle for a heptagon, which is a 7-sided shape, and it would make 14 copies, which is half of, or twice, it would make 14 copies. You'd delete half of them, and then you'd have 7 copies that are perfectly spaced. Yeah, geometry. I'm serious. Really cool thing I've learned on Tinkercad over the years. I guess any 3D modeling software is like that, but I've just only learned it in Tinkercad. And then, of course, a Tinkercad only thing. I dropped my screw. A Tinkercad only thing would be that shape generator I was talking about, circular array shape generator. So yeah, I hope that helps you. GEs are better. Well, I don't know about that. They look cooler, but yeah. You can divide any number by 360. That's a full rotation, 360 degrees. Divide the number of ports, and that will give you the number of the angle. That was the word I was looking for. The angle that you have to rotate the copies in order to make that shape. Yeah, really cool stuff. I didn't know that. Somebody actually recommended that I do that method, and it has worked for me. I just always remember the numbers and look up the angle of a heptagon or a decagon or whatever the shape is that corresponds to the number of ports. Or is this magnetic? It is magnetic. Oh, it's kind of dying. So guys, I'll get my Space AG screw kit. It looks like a missile, but what am I doing right now? I'm magnetizing the screw tip. I don't know if I'm doing this right, but anyway, this is just to make it more magnetic. It likes to die over time. All right, I'm almost done here. And then we can hear this thing go off for some signals. And, yeah, really exciting, honestly. Now, what I got to do is bolt the intake. Or not bolt, I can't say bolt. Screw the intake and the horns together. Oh, and I'm going to pay attention to direction. Yeah, this siren actually should be assembled in a proper way. So, like, see how we've got the cable coming out the back here, right? If we want to see, like, the front of this siren, we want the front leg to stick out, one of the 3 legs to stick out. So we'd have it on like this. See? So the cable's in the back. Here, I can show you with an example right here. Like the STL-10, for example. Because it's got an odd number of horns, I really wanted the cable to come out between 2 of the horns. See? And then if you look, this is technically the front of the siren. So we have the logo there, the civil defense decal. And we have this leg here on the front. So, you know, kind of going the extra mile to make sure the direction of all the parts are correct. But that's just how I do mine. That's how I will be making production sirens. I'll be making them. They'll have a front and a back because of the position, you know, based on the position of the USB cable. So, pretty cool stuff. Well, this is taking forever. This is like, you know, not going to be easy. I remember this being really hard on my first STH-10. I have it up there, actually. Drop my screw. Yeah, please tell me if I know I'm doing something wrong. I'd just like to know what I'm doing wrong. It's like, this is a magnetic screw kit, and it's like not sticking. What are you talking about, Harold? That wasn't my Cyclone, was it? I hope not. That would suck. I dropped my Cyclone a few times, and actually it was fine. Oh, okay. Just wondering. I don't care if you broke it, but it would suck if you did, so. Yeah. It was Harold's. Yeah. I will say, Harold Hi-Hat, I've seen your Cyclone. I actually looked at your Cyclone files a little bit when I was designing mine, and everything looked really accurate. I will say that. You know, the shape of the rotor and stuff looked pretty good. It looked really accurate. So I must say, you are a very experienced modeler. Good job on that. Yeah, 5.5 out of 18 of your sirens printed. Why is that a point number? I don't know what I'm doing today. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. All right. I'm going to ditch the core just for now. Revamping the 120, also making a 125. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was recycling 120. I'm sorry. Not the 125. I don't know if I said that. Half of my sterling. You guys, I might show my sterling later before I end the stream. It's not in pieces, but let's just say it will be. It has to undergo some fixing because the rotors scrape like crazy. I don't even know why. They just do. So. Oh, okay. Here we go. Front screw. What on earth? Oh, there we go. Helps to look at the bottom, and you can see all the copies of the shapes. Remember when your 120 siren comp? Oh, yeah. I don't think I saw that video. I see North Dakota Sirens' P50 recreate thing or reenactment. Yeah, he was. I think it was a Dawn Cyclone, and he was going full blast. Died. Yeah, I might do that one of these days. Semi-finished Model 5. Oh man, you're getting there. You know, my Model 5 was semi-finished for a good long while, and then it wasn't. So yeah, you guys want to see something cool? Tiny STH-10 horn, 8th scale STH-10 horn to be exact. You see, we've got the seam right here, kind of like where it would be on a real one because they're rolled together. Yeah, pretty cool. You know, we want to attention to detail. That's what I call it. All right. All right, I'm going to switch to, you guessed it, the manual screwdriver because it's always going to have a little more control over the, not manual one. Gosh, I'm sure this hurts to watch. I mean, if I was watching this, it would hurt me because I'd be like, wow, I did that. Yeah. Anyway, this is just what it takes, Oh, there we go. It just rolled on the side. Basically, I'm testing the length of the screw. I'm testing the length of the screw to make sure it doesn't stick into the horn too much. This is an M2x8. Yeah, M2x8. What are you using to make your shop? Like what program? I'm using Wix. Yeah. I've had people recommend Wix to me. I was going to do Shopify, like Edon uses Shopify, but I just heard Shopify is expensive. Not saying Wix isn't, but it's just what I've been told. Oh, there you go. We have one horn on. And I like the length of this screw. Yep. All right. That's fun. That's fun, Harold. Yeah, I made joke YouTube videos that weren't actually posted on YouTube because I was like 7 years old. And yeah, those were some fun times. Yeah, I pretended I was on YouTube, or I actually thought I was going to be on YouTube someday. Oh, I'm on YouTube. No, but back then I was like, oh, I'm going to have a YouTube channel, and made all these videos, and I was so cute. Yeah. Okay. Is that look good to you? Yep. You can't really see the screws sticking to there much. Yeah. So here's what I did. I used an M2x8 screw on the bottom, so it's 8 millimeters long. The thread is 8 millimeters long. And I used an M2x6 on the top. And the reason for that is because this bottom layer here on the stator, it goes through the stator and the intake, which is really thick. Same could be said for real models. And then the top is a lot thinner, So I'm making this screw has a shorter thread so that it doesn't stick into there as much. I did the same thing on my 3T22. Which, by the way, this will be a little leak for tomorrow's video. Oh, yeah, tomorrow. I'm making a video tomorrow, probably. I'm going to be doing a Memorial Day sound-off of some of my miniature sirens. And the 3D22 will be one of them. So I think I'll go outside and do a sound-off because I guess I want to do another... I want to do another sound-off outside, so I can do a range test. Yeah, so I can do a range test. I want to do a range test of the 3T22. I don't know if you guys saw, we were talking about this earlier, but my my old 2024 model, my old 2T22, that video, gosh, I was outside with the little decibel meter, which measured dBA, by the way. And, oh boy. Yeah, I want to make a video like that again, except not so funny with this time with my latest model designed to replace my old model. Yeah. And it'll be 6 scale. And, you know, I think I'm the only person on YouTube who's made a 3T22 in 6 scale. So I want to put it to the test, you know, with one of the tests being, you know, range and all that. It should be approximately half, or carry sound half as far as the 3rd scale model. You know, if I were to guess. That is awesome, Harold. I used to live around there. Won't say where, though, for privacy reasons. All right. Yeah. Might sell and use Wix. I encourage it. We always need more people making shops, you know. We got 2 horns on. Yeah, this thing looks really funny. Let's just do a scrape test, make sure nothing's scraping. Yep, nothing's scraping. Okay. Gosh, I was having nightmares with the Cyclone, actually. The Cyclone kept scraping and scraping and scraping, and I didn't know why. Eventually, I sanded the stator, the inside of the stator, and I used a soldering iron to melt some tiny imperfections that were in the stator when it was printed. And then I pretty much ran the Cyclone for a few minutes. It rubbed and rubbed and rubbed against the stator until it finally freed up. It got all whatever junk was in there, gunk and stuff. So yeah, now the Cyclone spins without any problems. And that's how I prevented it. Pretty cool. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend scratching up a rotor, but I don't know if my rotor actually got scratched up. I'd have to visibly inspect it, but you know, it did rub pretty hard. But now it doesn't scrape, so I'm just glad it doesn't scrape. Yeah. Oh, this is upside down. Yeah, these horns aren't directional. They can be put anyway, but I want it so that way the seam side is always on one side because it makes more sense. In my case, on the bottom, so that way it doesn't show. Yep, pretty cool. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Posting a video tomorrow. Yeah, nice. I think we'll see a lot of sound off videos for Memorial Day tomorrow. Oh no, I mounted this too low. Too low? No, I didn't. All right. We will keep screwing. Only like 9 more horns to go. It's a slow process, but a fun one. No, it's gone. Yeah. What are all the sirens I'm selling? Okay, I mentioned this list twice earlier, but so far, my current lineup of sirens that I will be selling will be my, obviously, STH-10, STL-10, SD-10, all the 10 horsepower sirens, Model 5, the Model 2, both single and dual tone variants, the 10V, the 14V, the 7V8 Sentry sirens, and the Screamer S2, the Banshee 115, and the, gosh, I'm missing one. Oh, the Cyclone. Yeah, I hope to sell the Cyclone because it's actually USB powered. I think I have the only USB powered Cyclone in like the world or something. Yeah. Wow, you'll be making a Super Banshee. Good luck with that. Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool, Jeff. Yeah, I'll see if I can do a sound off at exactly 12 o'clock noon tomorrow. I mean, I won't be busy, but it's just all like if I remember and stuff, you know. Probably wouldn't matter if I don't. Nobody's gonna really hear my sirens. Hopefully not, anyway. Or if they do, they should figure, oh, it's Memorial Day and they're doing a tribute sound off or something. E57s. My thoughts? I don't live in Germany, so I don't know much about them. They were cool though. I think one ended up at SirenCon one year. One of those 3-port ones, right? Banshee plus Banshee equals Super Banshee. That is actually true. Okay. Super Sanshi. People, you are funny. Okay. Oh, bye, ACA. Oh. And, drop the screw again. Yeah, this happens way too many times. Oh my gosh, I got the screw in the wrong direction. You see that? Long screw when the other horns don't have long screw. Yeah, I put the M2x8 on the top and not on the bottom. Oops. Yeah. I'm just glad these aren't number 2 screws because they would, fade, and they're only one length, and the length is pretty long, so it sticks into there a lot. I can't say I'm unhappy with them. My super old Sirens use them, and they still work to this day. With some revamping, but they still work. So they're doing their job. Like my Super Sirens, actually, I was really planning on doing a good job revamping that, to make the core more realistic to the actual thing. It all uses number 2 screws, and I don't know what to do because the core is going to have M2 screws, and the rest of the Siren is going to be using M2 or number 2 screws. So I'm not sure what to do about that. Yeah, really not. This leg is in the way. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, I'm gonna get real close to this thing here. It's not being easy. So yeah, I might remind you, this unit, built with care, will be going out to a customer at my website, the 3D Engineer Mini Sirens. It's not public yet. It will be very soon though, in a matter of days, hopefully. I will have the website up. Yeah. Yeah, so this customer won't be for me. Or sorry, this Siren won't be for me. It'll actually be for a customer. So really exciting. Possible you make a very mini E57. Pal, I don't make Sirens from other places. I'm American, so really cool though. I haven't seen a mini German Siren. Yeah, I haven't seen anybody make a mini German Siren, so kind of sad. Maybe somebody should model one soon. Yeah. I don't know much about them. When is the Banshee going to be available? Well, when my site comes out, but more like when I get around to making one and all that stuff. I'm literally printing one right now, and wouldn't you guess it? It's going to be American Signal Corporation gray, and it's going to have American Signal decals. So pretty sweet. That is if somebody orders it with decals. That's an optional thing. Yeah, really excited. Oh, screw here. I'm pretty excited to sell Banshees. It's really small. It's really small. The Banshee, gosh, it's really tiny. It's 8th scale, and the Banshee can be compared to like my ST-10 18-inch rotor. Oh, and Model 5T and Model 5. But the thing is, the Model 5 and the ST-10 have a really big housing, and the Banshee does not. The housing is just a few skirts. So it's for that reason, it's a lot smaller despite using the same size rotor. So yeah, that's what I've learned about modeling the Banshee. I wish it was a little bigger, but it's going to be a mini Banshee for people who buy it. Although I kind of have somebody to back me up. Snowcube, I've seen Palmer Divide Sirens' videos on Snowcube Sirens. They're really awesome. His Sirens, just like mine, are USB powered, and they use DC motors. So, and he made a bunch of mini Banshees, and I'm sure it's a similar scale. They look about the same size. So pretty cool on that. That spins smooth. Yeah, uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Fine, I count in Spanish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So almost halfway there. Where am I? Oh, I did not see that. Yeah, mini Geary. It's so cool. Not too far from there. Yeah. I've heard that Geary's 2T22 has a weird motor that most 3T22s don't have. I don't know if that's true. Yeah. Nice one, pal. Nice one. Okay. Drive this screw in. Real precision here. I know. Sometimes I'm real precise. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm like, I'm getting the screw gun and I'm going, and then other times I'm actually, you know, slowly putting in the screws where they need to go. Like right now. But then other times stuff just falls apart and I'm like, screw it on. Yep. So real precision. Yeah. I try to be really precise with the construction of my sirens, because after all, I will be selling them, so they won't be mine. They'll be somebody else's. Pretty cool. Yeah. Oh boy. Yep. Would you guys? Can we not egg that on too far? Although it is funny. Yeah. All right, guys, don't call me out on this. My STH-10 doesn't have the 6 screws on it and the 12 screws for the horns. I just had to simplify it a little bit for the sake, for the sake of simplicity, and not using an additional 6 screws for no reason. Because a real STH-10 has the stator a little bit fatter than the bottom of the intake, and yeah, what I said, and it has 6 copies of screws that would attach just the intake to the stator, and then 12 copies to the horns that are actually on the stator. Mine is kind of blended together, you know. These two don't meet up perfectly. There's a little gap, you know. I tried to be as realistic as possible, but it is what it is, you know. It's simplification. And as far as I could see, Snowcube's mini STH-10, which, by the way, my siren will be, my STH-10 will be competing with Snowcube's STH-10s because they're DC powered, USB powered, and they are a very similar scale. So that's always something to consider. But yeah, his are simplified like this too. It has 12 copies on the bottom. It doesn't have the copies. It doesn't have screws for the stator and then screws for the horns. Mine, he blended them together like mine for the sake of simplicity. There's always a level of simplicity that you have to account for when making miniature sirens. Like, you know, like with the 3T22, the solenoid boxes on them only use 2 screws because it doesn't need to use 4 screws. That's kind of a waste of screws. So see, you're saving on screws, and you know that's what simplification is all about. I keep grabbing more screws than I need. We're almost done here. We're officially halfway through this. Real fun. You're watching me bolt on some horns. Yeah, this is the long, tedious part of the STH-10 build. Oh, look, guys, it's an STH-10. Yeah, that's funny. P10s are easier to model. Really? Oh, that is absolutely true. By the way, hi. Kind of forgot that. Totally fine, dude. I get it. I'm all caught up with stuff. I should have a website by now, but I don't. Yeah. It's fine. Speaking of STL-10, I have parts for one right here. And since I think we have a few more people on the stream at this point, I'd like to reassure you that these sirens I'm building aren't for me, but they are for customers for my siren business. So this unit will eventually be shipped out to somebody. I don't know who, but we'll see. HTML. I don't know exactly what that means. It'll have a website link. It'll have a domain and everything, if that's what you mean. You're going to be streaming occasionally when you said, yeah, pretty much. Because honestly, it's probably the only time I can stream. The only time when I have a lot of peace and quiet. Yeah, you guys can expect me to stream every now and then. You know, I'm not going to do a stream of like every little siren I make, but probably for the vast majority of them until I get started or, you know, accustomed to my business, then we'll have streams for these. Yeah, pretty cool. Like, I'll probably do another one for the STL-10 whenever I feel like building that. Yeah, just that won't be today because, as proven, the STH-10 is taking a little longer. When are you going to get the website up? Hopefully by the end of May. Possibly June 1st could be a start date. Milk Models. Hello. 9-port Screamer would be cool. Yes, I'm making a 9-port Screamer, an S2. And I will be selling those, amazingly. I like the S2. I'm quite fond of them. I think I have one near me. I don't hear it, but I have one near me. And they're designed to rival Federal's Model 2. It's kind of interesting how they did that. Of course, one siren spins at like 6,000 RPM, and the other spins at like the regular 3,500 or whatever. But they've got some similarities. I'm bored too. Yeah, I will sell 9-port Screamers. Yeah, I know. They spin. Model 2 spin fast. Oh, and I can tell you that they spin fast because, and here's how I know that 130 motors at 5 volts spin at around 6,000 RPM is because my Model 2 and 2T, respectively, use 130 motors, and they have no resistor. Like, they're wired directly to a USB, which is crazy to think, honestly. They reach perfect pitch. Yes, they are fast, but not if you find the right ones. Like, I have some ones that are like 20,000 RPM at blank volts. Yeah, you don't want to get those. They're way too fast for sirens. Yeah. That would be cool to see, Josh. By the way, welcome to the stream. Okay. Straight line. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I used to use them for electrical stuff too. 9-port Screamer. Maybe. I don't know. I'd say if a 9-port siren was running at 2,800 RPM, it'd probably sound like an 8-port siren. Hi. Yep. Welcome, Josh, to the stream. The stream. I keep saying Screamer. That's why. Would you sell? Okay. No, I'm not saying. I'm not. Okay. First off, Jace, STL-10Cs did not exist. At least there's no records of them existing. And second, no, I'm not selling any coded sirens. I mean, you got to consider the fact that nobody you got to consider right now that there's nobody right now, at least that I know, that is selling coded sirens. The reason for that is because they're just like the damper could break in shipping. Dampers are really finicky, at least all the ones I've ever made. And making something like that's really impractical for shipping, unfortunately. Would be super cool. I made a mock-up STH-10, which was just my STH-10 with my 3T22's 10-port intake. I have a video of that on my channel. Yeah, that was fun. Only reason 3T20 works so well. But, that is true. That is very true. Since it's also one motor too, so any resistance on the rotor is going to be equal on both sides. Yeah, really cool stuff. The STH-10C had a major problem. There was a lot of pitch rise, and that's because you'd always have all the air wouldn't, there would be a lot less air resistance because the damper would shut it off, and it would cause the pitch to rise by like a lot. Yeah, that's probably kind of the only fault with single rotor coded sirens. Like coded cyclones are like that too. They have a huge pitch rise, and that's because they don't have an equal amount of air coming in both sides. Padding or stuff inside the dampers. Yes, I suppose I could. Oh, by the way, when I'm selling these, I'm gonna basically. Wow, this thing looks so good. I'm gonna basically put this in some flat rate box, like a flat rate shipping box. I'll have to figure out the size. Probably stuff it with some packing peanuts and foam. And because I'll be doing packing peanuts, I don't want something stupid like a packing peanut going into the rotor and ruining the siren. So I'll put probably like a cardboard thing here that's just taped on. And then when somebody gets it, they can untape it, take it off, and then, yeah. Oh, I was also thinking, okay, packing peanuts are going to get in the horns. But honestly, I just like, just Just take the packing peanuts out. They can't get into there. Yeah, 75. Wow, okay. Thing is, Harold, 130 motors are like 50 cents each, at least from the kits I buy them from, and they work. So that's part of why these things are so cheap. I will be selling mine for $50 plus shipping. Yeah, as a start. I might change the price. I haven't really decided. That's what I've got so far. Yep. Oh, bye, Siren 1003. Fun having you here. Ran off. Oh my gosh. Somebody did that with my STL-10, Jeff, and it was a little infuriating. It was so overkill. Okay, now my screws are flinging again. My gosh, Harold. Words of wisdom. Words to live by. I dropped my screws. See, okay. I get enough enjoyment out of building these that the manual labor is almost worth it, you know? Or it is worth it to some extent. Yeah. Hi, RC Cars and Planes. I was just complimenting you earlier about you making my Cyclone. So nice to have you here. Someone put a Samsung motor, a siren. Yeah, I saw that too. I don't know who did that. Yeah. Could you imagine a Samsung motor, 8 scale STH-10 or something like that? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, since we have some new people on the stream here, we have an equal amount of watchers and likes on the video. Thank you, guys. 22. Yeah, do it. Do it, Harold. Oh my gosh. Do Samsungs come in different sizes? Like, I know nothing about Samsungs, just that they plug into the wall and spin at, most of the time, at perfect RPM. They come in different sizes. Okay. Wow. I did not know that. Yes, I actually have NTGP. Sorry, I'm probably not saying that right. I considered, like, if I were to ever make bigger STH-10s or bigger Sirens like this, I would move to, what do they call it? A PM DC motor, permanent magnet DC motor. They're brushless motors, and they just work differently from traditional brushed motors. And I've heard they have really great line downs. Problem is, those suckers are like $30 each, which is the same fate that I feel like Samsung motors suffer from, is that they're so darn expensive. If I made Sirens with motors like that, then I would have to bump up the price. I wouldn't make any profit. Yeah. So Samsung could be, it would just be painful to put on. You're telling me. Yeah. All right. Where do you guys buy Samsung motors? I've never bought one before. I bought an HVAC motor from eBay, but that was for full size one. Oh, I didn't know that. eBay. Okay, there you go. Thank you. My gosh, I haven't seen a Samsung motor that is under $50. Okay, so expensive. Yeah. Wow. They're going extinct. They don't make them anymore, huh? Wow. Yeah. New Samsungs cost a lot. Ones on eBay are cheaper. Okay. So you're getting a motor that's washed up. 35. Yeah. That's impressive. Wow, that's going to sell quickly, Jace. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, they're going up in price. Yeah, I hope they keep making those. So many people use them and depend on them. Yeah. It would be hard for 130 motors to go extinct because guess what? I mean, it's probably the most popular DC motor out there. The most popular DC motor size I've probably ever seen. I used 130 motors well before I got into Sirens. I made like fans out of them and stuff. Yeah. They're everywhere. You just want to find the right ones for making Sirens, though, because they can't be like 30,000 RPM at 12 volts. That's like way too high. Or more realistically, gosh, I'm losing my words again. I calculated that I did the wrong screw length. That's what's throwing me off. I calculated that the RPM of one of my 130 motors is like, somewhere around 9,000 RPM. at 5 volts, which is insane, and it's a bit less than 6,000 RPM. The reason why the RPM is higher than it should be is because that's the no-load speed, without a load or anything attached to the motor. When I have a rotor on it, there's a bunch of air resistance and weight, and the RPM is much lower. So it's probably around 6,000. Then to fine-tune that RPM even lower, or make that RPM even lower, like I did with the STH-10 here, we use resistors, as you guys might have seen earlier from the stream, to step down the pitch one by one, and then we get perfect pitch with a DC motor without the need of a speed controller. So pretty cool. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. Wow, that is fast. One of the motors on my RC car spins at 50,000 RPM. Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't use that for a siren unless you want shards going everywhere. Wow. That's probably one of the highest RPM DC motors I've ever seen. Yeah. That's like a race car speed. You got a little race car. Yeah. That's so funny. Oh, gosh dang it. I don't know if you guys can see that, but one of the horns, you can't even see it. Okay. One of the horns has the seam up here, but oh well. I might flip it. I'll make this quick, and I won't fully unthread it. Quick fix, all right? Quick fix. I love the STH-10. This is a siren that has stood the test of time and is still popular today, Like, you find so many STH-10s, they're still active. Hello, Cody Rack. Yeah. Dyson. Yeah, Dyson motor. That's crazy. Wow. Yeah, they were made into 2005, so not that long ago. But then you got the really old STH-10s from like the 1950s and 60s that used Valley motors, such as this one. And now I'm not yelling at myself. Oh my gosh, another horn's upside down. Do you guys see the seam on the top of this horn? It's more noticeable in person. Let's just say that. Anyway. We all talking about really fast motors. That's funny. And why Samsung motors are going extinct. It's a sad fate for those. What else am I going to say? Oh, hi, Valley Pine Sirens. Okay, you can probably tell from the background here, I have STL-10 parts. I was going to do both of these, but I underestimated how much time it was actually going to take to build these. I was going to do it on one shot in one stream. So it is likely that in my next stream, I will be building the STL-10. So, yeah. Save the Samsung motors. That should be a tag on YouTube, 2 hours in. Okay. I got to go eventually, people. So when we're done at the STH-10, yeah, that'll be our stream. So thank you guys for tuning in. Really fun having you all here. Save the Samsung motors. That needs to be a YouTube tag. Mine would be loosen 390 motor brushes or something like that. Not enough people do that. Oh, this thing looks awesome. You can you can't really see inside the horns, just like the real thing. Like it's got a shadow in there. Might just be the angle of the camera though. Okay, now they're all facing the right direction. Now I'm not gonna beat myself up. I think I blew up my resistor. That's gonna be my tag. I burned up my resistor. Okay. So, picking up. Oh, no. Did I lose? Oh, there it is. That almost fell on the wrong. These screw kits, man, you don't want to get them messed up. Yeah. Pretty much if you drop this, you would have to measure each and every screw, and that would suck. So, I did that with my screw kit and had to put all the bits in the right spot. That sucked. How loud is my STH-10? Wow. Yeah, 131 inside the intake. Okay, so we'll do I got so many people saying, pull out the decibel meter. I literally have it back here. That's what this bag is. That's what's inside of there. I'll do a test later. I just got one horn to go. Well, technically two. and then I will do a test of the STH, and then we'll actually see how loud it is. I think I just created a new thread instead of going into the thread that was there. Yeah. Wow, you guys all know the wiring on Samsungs? Yeah. Yeah, milk models, from my understanding, I've been shocked by 120, and it's not fun. It hurts really bad. At least it's not 240, though. I bet they have... Oh, wait, no, they don't have 240 Samsung motors because they don't have 240-volt microwaves. Yeah, but 240 sucks. I've had family got shocked by 240, and it's not fun. I actually send you flying a little bit. So, folks, DC powered. All right. Last horn, and it looks like it's done, but it's not. All right, all the brim is on. Yep, this looks correct. Yeah, I am being really, picky on this build because, like I said, this siren isn't going to be for me. It's going to be for a customer at the 3D Engineer Mini Sirens. So my standards are a little higher. Let's just say that. Wow, 480. How do you run that thing? Oh, well, I've seen a siren, or I've seen a siren up close that ran on 480. It was a 2T22A. Yeah, it ran at 480, and I'm like, yeah, even if I get this thing, I'm never gonna run it. So, lost a lot of faith in that. It's also huge, I have a truck, but I don't have a crane. Oh my gosh, really? New Jersey Trains and Sirens? You're going to bring my Sirens to SirenCon? Folks, that is so cool. My Sirens are going to be at SirenCon, and I don't have to be there. Thank you so much. Okay, New Jersey Trains and Sirens. From my understanding, you printed my Model M, my Model 2, my Model 5. What else? I haven't checked your channel in a while. I'm sorry. Definitely a lot. That is so exciting. Just make sure, the Model M's at proper pitch. It's got all the parts it needs, like the buck converter and whatnot. If you're running it like that, if you don't want it to be USB powered, I get that. All right. I think it's done. I think the STH is done. What do you guys think? Yeah. Should I run it up? I hope it doesn't scrape. That means 12 bolts have to come off. At least 12. Let's growl it first. Yeah! Yeah! I'm sorry, I was worried that was going to scrape. I had some minor PTSD from assembling the Cyclone. That was off camera, fortunately, but man, I got really mad at the Cyclone because it was scrapey. Yeah, not fun. Thanks, Josh. It uses a 2-inch. Here, I can just show you. The reason why the wind down's so good is because 130 motors have really loose brushes, but also it has this at the bottom, and this is really heavy, and that's why the wind down is so long. Yeah, the STH-10 just has an amazing wind down, let alone the resin printed rotor that's in there. Because, resin, I talked about this earlier, gosh. Resin printed rotors have solid infill. They're completely solid, and they're really heavy. So, all right, I'm going to turn off my computer charger again. All right, I'll get the DB reader out, all right? And we will give this thing a test. Seriously, Jace, seriously, I'm kind of running this thing to its max. All right, can everybody see that? Oh, that's not very clear. I need to get a better webcam. Yeah, I wasn't exactly prepared for this stream. I just thought, I should do it. All right, so I can just tell you the reading if you can't see it, but yeah, we'll do. Where do I get the weights? I get them from Amazon. There's a link in the Tinkercad project for all my Sirens that use weights. And every single one of my Siren uses weights except for the Model 2 and the Screamer S2 because they're, they already have a good enough wind down, I guess. Okay. Valley Pine Sirens. Sorry, I'm listening to this comment. Well, okay, Valley Pine Sirens. I don't. Yeah. I do have some kind of disclaimer on selling my miniature siren files. The thing is, they're my files. They're technically my property, and they are free for public use. But I do recommend that you don't try making your own profit with my files. That's illegal. So, however, if you credit me and you say I did not model these, wow, my camera's getting really foggy. If you credit them, you didn't. Okay, great. Then I guess I'm okay with it. And I trust you enough. So yeah, if you sold a few of them at SirenCon, fine. I'm basically saying don't make your own business with my sirens. That's not cool. But yep, that I'm fine with that. That would be really cool. Valley Pine Sirens and New Jersey Trains and Sirens. Y'all are bringing my sirens to SirenCon. That's exciting. Wow. Yeah, I won't be going there because I can't drive to Wisconsin, but maybe in a few years. Guys, I'm just going to leave the DB reader in this horn here. Can you? No, you can't see that at all. Whatever. All right, guys, let's blast this thing off, all right? Yeah, are we ready? Can we get some cheering in the chat for the STH? I know. For real. Yes, all right. Drum roll, do it. STH-10, here we go. Holy crap. That's perfect. Yes, you read right. Jace, to answer your question, 115 decibel in the intake. I mean, I could probably do this, but I didn't. So, yeah. That was right here. Yep, 115. That sucker's loud. Thank you, Milk Models. Yeah. Honestly, Valley Pine Sirens, it's fine. And didn't you say they would be non-functional, my sirens, if you sold them a little bit at SirenCon? Yes, there is Cody Wrap, but doing that sucks. I need to open up the motor and add another resistor. Yeah, the pitch is a little high. I'm gonna do something really fun, guys. In my own free time, not on the stream, I'll probably open it up and do the sucky stuff, which is adding another resistor. But I will see if it harmonizes with my other STH-10. This is my private model. Then I will just simply keep it. Let's see if it harmonizes. That's all I wanted to do. Why won't this shut? Okay, there we go. All right. I kind of need STH-10 Duo. Look at this. I just wish my camera wasn't so fuzzy. That's weird. All right. Last little blast probably before I go off the stream. I've been here a long time. Yeah. You guys ready? Let's kind of blast them off together. Doo-doo-doo. These horns are like... I wonder if this will sound like a 16B 1TB where the rotors will boost each other and be even louder. All right, let's do this. One's running on a slightly different power supply. Wow. Wow. They have a nearly identical wind down, by the way. A little bit, Cody Rap. Yeah. So it was 105, by the way, from like right here. Yeah, it didn't harmonize perfectly. You know, I'm also using 130 motors, and they're not super precision. I need to add another resistor in my own free time and make this pitch slightly more accurate, because it sounds more like a 2001 130 or something instead of an STH-10. So, wow, that's a lot of decibels. Anyway, that was cool. Let me get the other STH-10 out of here. But essentially, yeah, we built an entire STH-10 in a day. Well, in like 2 hours, actually. So I guess I'm pretty proud of myself for doing that. Building them doesn't take long. It's more like printing them. And most of all, designing them. But I'm already done with that, fortunately. So yeah, I'll go in there. I'll you know, take off these screws. I know it sucks, but I'll do it in my free time. Carefully pull out the rotor. Put in this little guy. And then the pitch should be pretty accurate. I don't want it to be too low, but probably better too low than too high, I'd say. So yeah, what do you guys think? Pretty cool. You got an OC9. What does that mean? Brennan. Yeah, we'll see. I can't guarantee that this siren will go out to a specific YouTube user. It's just really a matter of fact. Sorry, it's just kind of it depends on if you get it quick enough. You order it, you know. As soon as it's in stock, hit order and it'll be yours, you know. I will do one more thing, and that is putting in the eye bolt here. It's like a 1/2-inch eye bolt, so it's pretty beefy, but I couldn't help but buy this size because it has a M2 like thread. This thing looks so funny. Yeah, so just this little eye bolt, and then I think I'll do one more blast and I will be done. Yeah, you better hurry. Pretty much anybody who, you know, my sirens will be, let's just say, sought after. A lot of people want them. A lot of you want them. Once they're in stock, thank you, Harold, somebody who relates to me. Once they're in stock, you know, hit order and it's yours, pretty much. Yeah, I will send out, I think, a few units to a special YouTube user. It's somebody who does siren reviews. I won't mention the name for privacy reasons. But I will send him a model before I officially start selling. It might be this STH-10. Might also be the STL-10 when I build that. So pretty much. Pretty cool. I wish I had a drill that had a little insert thing. What did I just say? You're referring to me? Yes, I'm going to send a model off to somebody to do a review video on it. Burger. Completely unrelated. I'll take one. I make siren reviews. Okay, Crazy Cone, buy one, and I would love to see one from you. Or I can send one to you if, you know, if I could get your email and stuff. I don't want to get too personal, though. Okay. We're almost there. I'm actually just doing this. So I don't have to put metal on my fingers. Just gotta be careful not to scratch this up. Can you pick up? Oh, yes, you can. Yeah, it's very in there. It's definitely in there. Hi, 98 Chevy. Person who's getting the first. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But again, guys, I think most of my 8-scale sirens that I will be selling will be around $50, with the exception of the SD10, because, you know, the housing is a big pain to print. So $60 on that one. And the Cyclone. The Cyclone, of course, it has a little more expensive componentry and whatnot. So it'll be priced at $65. But Josh is on to something. Okay, anyway. Anyway. Yes, it is. Yeah. Okay, well, Valley Pine Sirens, please be careful with them, because if you break it, I'm not going to return it. You can't return it. Wow. We just made an STH-10 in a day, folks. Or in a matter of hours. Yeah. This is great. Yeah. I'm pretty proud of myself. Pretty proud of myself for doing this. And guys, when I say, like, you'll hear me mention this a lot. When I say, oh, I got to put my siren through a stress test, like a bit of abuse, what I do is I toss it on my bed. I let it roll and I toss it on my bed. And if that's enough to like cause the rotor to scrape, then I can't sell it because shipping is going to be a whole lot worse. Yeah. So anyway. Yeah. You guys are missing one word there. All right. Anyway, that's all I'll say. You know, I don't want to leak. I don't want to. What's the word? I want privacy reasons. Let's just say that. Yeah. But somebody will be reviewing one of my sirens before they go fully public. So yeah, really excited to do that. Yeah. Okay. Does that look good? That does look good. Yeah. Yeah. Look at this. Oh, crap. Yeah, and then there's a look at the, I don't know if, oh, there's a look at the chopper. Yep. Resin printed with a 2-inch fender washer. 130 motor, 5 resistors. I'll see if I can cram in another one and fix the pitch. We'll do one more blast here. You guys tell me, oh, that doesn't sound like an STH-10. Or you can tell me, it sounds like an STH-10. You're fine. And remember, I will be selling this, so my standards are quite high. Right there. Ah. Fair. Good way to put it. On the bright side, no scraping, no rubbing. The assembly was smooth. It maxed out my camera. Okay, that doesn't surprise me. I have a not very good microphone on right now. I'll hopefully get a better one in the future. All right, I think that'll be it for this stream. Yeah, this thing is loud. I cranked down the rotor stator tolerance. Yeah. Mini STL-10. Yeah, it is. I don't know why it is. How many of your sirens do you think I have? All right, RC Cars and Planes. Fair, I guess. 6. 5. Nobody say 7. Thank you, Tania. We may have 6 or 7. Oh, I hate that. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm gonna guess you have 6. Yeah. Am I right? Am I anywhere close? You told me to guess, you know. It's probably going to be way, way off, but I've seen a lot from you, RC Cars and Planes, and yeah, it is not funny. Yeah. Okay, can you tell me the actual number? I want to know RC Cars and Planes. Maybe he's counting them. Yeah, I could not guess how many sirens I have right now, and I'd have to count them. I made too many, and I can't remember. Not counting this guy. This is technically not mine, but will be for sale once we go. Yeah. Thank you, Shane. Yeah. Okay. I think we're done here. This is a 2.5 hour stream, so that adds up evenly. Basically, in my own free time, I'm going to open up the motor, tweak the resistor bus combination stuff. I already did. Oh, Shane, did you miss it? If you missed it, I'll do it again. Okay, I'll do it again. One more blast for Shane, okay? Here's my STH-10. I'll warn you, it's slightly over 10, but it's slightly over pitched. So it sounds more like a 2001. All right, I'll do it again. Okay. Yeah. I bet if I run it on a different USB adapter, it'll be a different pitch. Oh, because I mentioned this on my website. That not all USBs are exactly the same voltage, and it's not going to. The pitch can vary. So if I'll run it off my bench power supplies USB, and we'll see if it's any different. And I have 2 more over here, so see if the pitch is any different. applause. That was perfect 12-port pitch. We hit 3,450 RPM. Yeah, that is an STH-10. Okay, so let me tell you what I did. I plugged it into a different USB adapter. That's all it took. So, yeah. We are 15 seconds overdue of a 2.5-hour stream. I think I'm going to end it here because, well, thank goodness nothing broke, and I'm happy with it. It's full pitch. If somebody buys one of my Sirens, and they're like, "Oh, it's overpitched," just try a few different USB adapters, and the pitch will be different. I guarantee you. Yeah. So I'm gonna end it here. This STH-10 is complete. I will do another stream probably pretty soon. Maybe not tomorrow. I'm already doing a video tomorrow. Won't be live though. Memorial Day sound off. And yeah, I will be putting together the STL-10. So you can join for that. I might schedule the live stream so it's not so random. Maybe we'll get more people that way. So yeah, bye guys. Thank you so much for joining. This was great fun. We made an STH-10 in 2.5 hours that reaches perfect pitch. And the only thing now is to just have it sit around until a customer orders one. And, if they ask for decals, I'll slap them on and then I'll ship it off. And yeah. So fun fact, STH-10, this gray STH-10 is my first production mini siren. Right. I'll see y'all in the next one. Wow, we're at almost 30 watchers. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Bye. See you guys in the next one. I'll hopefully schedule the next live stream so it's not so random. Yeah. And then in the next one, we'll build the STL-10 and whatever fun sirens I have. Hopefully I'll have the Banshee by then. That's the next siren I'm going to production build. So see y'all. Fun having you here. Bye-bye. Oh. Yeah. Sorry. That did not end when I thought it was. All right. It's gone.